You have been working, not just working, grinding quietly, faithfully. While others seem to move forward with ease, you are still here, still standing, still hoping. And every night, when the world gets quiet, and it is just you and your thoughts, one question rises from deep inside. Is this ever going to change for me? I need you to stay right here with me. Don't scroll, don't skip ahead. What I am about to share is not a motivational speech. God sent this message to find you today, because your breakthrough is so much closer than your circumstances are allowing you to see. In this message, I am going to walk you through 7 specific signs that God is already moving to release a financial breakthrough into your life. Pay very close attention to number 5. That single sign has been the turning point for chosen ones right before everything shifted. People have heard it and wept because they finally understood what their season of waiting was really about. Please don't skip it. Here is something very few people talk about. The chosen ones are almost never the first to receive. They pray the most and see the least, at least for a season, but the delay is never the denial. The waiting is the preparation. God is building you into someone who can carry the blessing without being broken by it, because what He is about to release into your life is not something the earlier version of you was ready for. You are being prepared, not passed over, prepared. And here is the first sign that your wait is about to end. Something has shifted inside of you recently. The circumstances around you haven't changed. The bank account looks the same, the bills are still there, and yet somewhere underneath all of it, there is a quiet, a stillness, almost like the eye of a storm, where everything around you keeps moving, but something inside you has stopped shaking. You used to lie awake running through worst-case scenarios. You used to refresh your account hoping the numbers would change. But lately, something simply told you to breathe. This is not numbness. This is the peace that Philippians 4:7 describes. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That word transcends is everything. This peace does not come from logic. It does not come from your situation improving. It comes from a source higher than your current reality. When that peace shows up in the middle of a financial storm, it is a signal, not a symptom. God only sends that kind of peace to someone He is personally guarding. When He steps in front of a situation, the anxiety inside of you quiets down. Not because the problem disappeared, but because the one greater than the problem has taken the lead. You stopped panicking. You stopped refreshing your bank account every hour. That is not you giving up. That is God taking over. This peace is a divine signature. God writing His name over your situation and saying, "This one is mine. I will handle it." Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you." Perfect peace. In the middle of financial pressure that is not human, that is holy. If you have been feeling it, even in small flashes between the hard days, this first sign is speaking directly to you. But that peace comes with something else. A second sign that most people misread as a problem, when it is actually proof that God is already at work. Stay with me. Let me ask you something gently. In the past few months, have you experienced a loss you didn't see coming? A job that ended without warning? A contract that fell through? A relationship that dissolved? An opportunity that looked perfect, and then it wasn't? It hurt. Some of it still hurts. Because it didn't feel like preparation, it felt like setback. Here is what I want you to understand. When God prepares a chosen one for a new financial season, He doesn't only add things, He removes things first. He clears the space. He lets go of everything that cannot carry the weight of where He is taking you. This is pruning. John 15:2 says, "He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit He prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful." The pruning is not punishment. The pruning is promotion. The gardener who loves the vine most is the one willing to cut what would drain it. That door that closed on you, the one that hurt so badly, God didn't close it to punish you. He closed it because what is coming through the next door is so much bigger. It required you to have both hands free. the connections that walked away, the deals that fell through. Not one of those losses was wasted, not one was an accident. God was making room, clearing the table so he could set a new one, and what he is about to place on that table is something you could not have received while your arms were still full of what you used to carry. The people connected to your old season cannot always follow you into your new one. That is not rejection. That is divine direction. Releasing what no longer fits is making space for something far greater to arrive. Sign number 3 is something you are probably experiencing right now, this very week, and you had no idea it was God's fingerprints all over it. Keep listening. Before we continue, I want to pause for just a moment. If you have made it this far, something in these words found you. Maybe it named what you have been carrying quietly. Maybe it finally put language to a feeling you didn't have words for. That is not an accident. If this message has meant something to you today, leave a comment below and share which sign resonated with you most. Your words might be exactly what someone else scrolling through the comments needs to read right now. You never know whose life you touch simply by sharing what moved you. And if you feel led to help carry this message further, there is a coffee link in the description and pinned in the comments below. Think of it not as supporting a channel, but as quietly passing a warm cup of hope to a stranger somewhere in the world who is sitting alone tonight, wondering if God still sees them. Someone you will never meet. Someone who needs to hear these exact words today. Your kindness becomes the bridge that carries this message to them. Like this video, share it with someone walking through a hard season right now. Subscribe so you never miss a message made for a season exactly like yours. Now let's keep going, because sign number 3 is the one that will make you stop, take a breath, and whisper, "That has been happening to me." Let me ask you something personal. And I want you to be honest with yourself when you hear this. Lately, something inside of you has stopped being satisfied. Not because things are worse than before. The job is still there. The routine is still the same. But somewhere between waking up and going to sleep, you have started feeling like you are living in a room that is too small for who you are becoming. Like your current life fits the old version of you. But the person you are right now keeps bumping into the walls. You cannot explain it to the people around you. When you try, it sounds ungrateful, so you keep it quiet. But it is there. Every single day, this low hum of restlessness that will not go away no matter how busy you keep yourself. I want you to hear this clearly. That feeling is not a problem. That restlessness is not selfishness. It is not impatience. It is not ingratitude. It is a calling. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." God said, "I am doing a new thing." Right now this season, and the very first evidence that something new is beginning, is that the old thing no longer fits. You cannot move towards something new while being completely comfortable where you are. God knows that. So he plants a holy restlessness inside the chosen one. He stirs something in the spirit. He makes the current season feel narrow on purpose. Not to make you miserable, but to make you move. Think about a seed inside the ground. A seed content in the dark will never push through the soil. It is the pressure, the tightness, the discomfort of the shell cracking open that forces new life upward. That is exactly what is happening inside of you right now. You keep feeling like you are meant for more, not because you are arrogant, but because God placed a hunger inside of you that the current season simply cannot satisfy. And that hunger is your compass. Follow the hunger. It knows where you are going, even when your eyes cannot see it yet. And that discomfort, it is about to make sense. Because sign number 4 is when God begins to shift the atmosphere around you, and you will see it in the people he has been quietly sending your way. Keep listening. Think back over the last 3 months, not last year. The last 3 months specifically, because if you pay attention, something has been changing in the people showing up in your life. Maybe someone reached out after years of silence. Maybe you had a conversation with a stranger that felt strangely significant. like it was meant to happen. Maybe someone introduced you to a new idea, a new opportunity, a new way of seeing something you thought you already understood, and in the moment, you called it a coincidence. You moved on, but something kept bringing you back to that moment, that conversation. That person here is what I want you to understand. God never changes a financial season without first changing the people in your circle. He shifts the atmosphere before he shifts the numbers. The network changes before the net worth changes every single time. Financial breakthrough almost always travels through human hands. A conversation that opens a door, a relationship that creates an opportunity, a connection that introduces you to the path you didn't know you were looking for. And God is the one orchestrating every single one of those meetings. He is the author of the moments that felt too perfectly timed to be random. He nudged that person to reach out. He placed you in that room, at that event, at that exact moment. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." You may have planned your route, but God has been arranging your steps, and some of the steps He arranged look like people. Think about who came into your life unexpectedly in the last 3 months, who reached out with something that felt different. God does not do coincidences. He does appointments. Go back and look at those people with new eyes. Stop calling it random. Ask a different question. Not why is this person here, but what is God trying to connect me to through this person? Because one conversation, one relationship, one divinely appointed moment can be all it takes. One door opens and everything changes, and God has already been sending the key holders. Now lean in close, because everything shared so far, the peace, the pruning, the discomfort, the new connections, all of it has been building to this very moment. Sign number 5 is the reason this message exists. It is the most misunderstood sign of all. Missing it has caused chosen ones to walk away from the very threshold of their breakthrough. Please don't move yet. This is the one I need you to be still for a moment, because what I am about to describe is something most people never talk about. And if you have been experiencing this, I need you to know you are not alone. You are not falling apart. You are actually closer than you have ever been. Have you been waking up in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, 3, sometimes 4? Not because of a sound, not because of a dream, something harder to name, a weight, a stillness that somehow feels loud. Like your spirit is aware of something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. You lie there and the thoughts come, thoughts about money, thoughts about the future, questions about whether things are ever going to change. And in those hours between midnight and morning, the silence can feel absolutely deafening. I know what that feels like. But here is what the darkness is not telling you. The midnight test is not the end. It is the entrance. Every chosen one throughout history went through a midnight before their morning arrived. Abraham received his promise in the dark of night when God told him to count the stars. Joseph sat in his lowest moment, forgotten in a prison cell, the very night before Pharaoh called for him and everything changed. David wrote his most powerful prayers, not from a palace but from a place of uncertainty, surrounded by the unknown. The pattern is not random, it is intentional. God does not bring a chosen one to the edge of their breakthrough and then leave them in the dark. He uses the dark to do the final preparation, the work that only happens in silence, the work that cannot be rushed, the work that produces a depth of faith no comfortable season could ever build. Psalm 30:5 says, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." Not might come, not possibly. It comes in the morning, already written. Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." The glory that will be revealed, future tense. Certain tense, already decided. The darkest hour is not proof that God has forgotten you. It is proof that the sunrise is imminent. You don't go through a midnight test unless morning is already scheduled, and your morning, your financial morning, has already been written into your story. The chosen ones who made it through were not stronger than you. They simply refused to leave in the dark what God had promised them in the light. If you have been crying in the middle of the night, if you have been holding yourself together through every daytime hour and then falling apart the moment no one is watching, that is your sign. Not that it is over, that it is about to begin. Hold on. Morning is closer than midnight feels. The tears you have been crying in the dark are not a sign of weakness. They are watering the ground that the breakthrough is about to grow from. And when you come through this season, and you will come through it. Sign number 6 is what God sends to confirm that the shift has already happened in the unseen before you see a single thing change in the visible. Do not miss it. Ideas have been coming to you recently, not vague daydreams, specific ones, clear ones. A business concept that arrived fully formed while you were in the shower. A skill you have never developed but suddenly feel pulled toward. A way to create income you have never considered before. And when it crossed your mind, something inside you lit up for a moment before you talked yourself out of it. And almost immediately, a second voice followed. That is not realistic. People like me don't do things like that. So you let it go? Or you tried to, but it keeps coming back. Here is what I need you to understand. Those ideas did not originate in you, they were placed in you. There is a difference between a thought you manufactured and a thought that was given to you. When an idea arrives with a clarity and a specificity that you cannot fully explain, that is not your imagination running wild. That is a download from God. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." He will establish your plans, not suggest them, not maybe bless them, establish them. But first, you have to commit them. You have to hold the idea with open hands. And before you can hold it with open hands, you have to actually write it down. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." God already has the plan. He already knows the path, and He releases the vision of that path into chosen ones in quiet flashes of clarity that the world would dismiss as daydreams. That business idea you keep setting aside because people like you don't do things like that. Write it down today. God does not place visionary ideas into minds that cannot carry them. He gave it to you because you are the one He chose to bring it to life. The idea is not too big. You are growing into it right now. Sign number 7 is the one that ties everything together. Once you hear it, you will understand why this financial season is not just about your bank account. It is about something that reaches far beyond you. We have been talking about financial breakthrough this entire message, and I want to be honest with you about something before we close. This has never been just about money, the peace in the storm, the things removed to make room, the restlessness in your spirit, the new people who appeared, the midnight hours you pushed through, the ideas that arrived without explanation. Every single one of those signs points to something far larger than a number changing in your account. God is not preparing you to be rich. He is preparing you to be responsible. And those are two very different things. Think about Abraham. God blessed him not so he could collect, but so that through him every family on earth would be reached. The blessing was the vehicle, not the destination. Abraham was chosen not to accumulate, but to carry something to others. That is what is happening with you. Because alongside the hunger for more in your own life, you have also felt something else growing, a pull toward generosity, a desire to lift someone who is struggling the way you have struggled, a quiet vision of what you would do with abundance that goes beyond yourself. That is not coincidence. That is the signature of a chosen one being prepared for stewardship. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much." The faithfulness you have shown in this season, the integrity you kept when no one was watching, the way you continued even when the return was invisible, that is the very thing that qualifies you for what is next. The reason God has been taking you through so much before releasing this breakthrough is because He is not just making you wealthy, He is making you trustworthy. He is making you someone who will not be undone by the blessing, someone who can carry it and use it for something that outlasts you. You have been patient. You have been faithful in the small. You kept going when stopping would have been the easier choice. Your season is changing. The financial breakthrough is already moving in your direction. Open your hands and receive it. If even one of these 7 signs found you today, that was not an accident. God used this message to confirm what He has already been whispering to you in the quiet. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared, and your preparation is almost complete. Before you leave, say this out loud and mean every word. My financial breakthrough is already moving toward me. I am ready to receive it, and I will be faithful with everything God places in my hands. Say it like it is already true, because in the Spirit, it already is. If this message reached you today, share it with one person before you go, because somewhere in your circle, there is someone sitting in the same place you were when this started. Someone who needs to know their midnight is not the end. Your share might be the reason they find this today. Leave a comment and tell me which sign spoke to you most. One more thing, and I want to say this gently. If this message gave you something real to hold on to today, there is a coffee link in the description and pinned in the comments below. Think of it this way. Right now, someone is sitting alone in a hard season, wondering if God still sees them. When you share a coffee through that link, you help make sure this message finds them. You become the quiet hand that passes something warm to a stranger you will never meet, whose life might shift because of it. You are not giving to a channel. You are becoming part of someone else's story like this video. Subscribe so the next message finds you exactly when you need it. Your morning is coming, and it is going to be worth every night you waited through.